Okay, just waiting for a few moments here. There we go. Okay. And giving that time to go through. Hey, Bhavna's here. Wow. Hello, Bhavna. Welcome. God, it's been a while since we've seen you here. Nice to have you back. Yeah, happy to have you here. So, as we just give people some time to join in, I'm going to read my disclaimer. So, today is, wow, September 1st. Here we go, guys. September 2021. And my name is Marianne Carduner with unboundedandfree.com. And I'm not a medical doctor or therapist. I don't diagnose, prescribe, or heal. I can scan your frequency and energy patterning to tell you what I see. And please do consult a doctor or therapist for professional advice. And all content is copyright protected, and you may not use this content in any way, shape, or form without my written permission. Hello, Catherine. You look wonderful. Well, thank you. Yes, fall's here. Yes, you guys are a little further up north there, so probably starting to cool down already. But yeah, September, you can feel that change, and it feels, you can just feel autumn is upon us. Anyway, so, well, let's get started. And if you're stopping in for the first time, please say hi and let us know. I have a fever. Can you please scan me and see where I'm blocking energy? Thank you so much. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So let's get Harold. Yay, Harold. The gang's all here. So good to have the usual characters pop in. It's always nice. So all right, so let's just get started. And let's just take some nice deep breaths and really paying attention to the breath as we breathe. You know, and feeling it go in the nostrils, into the sinuses, down the air passage, feeling the lungs. One side, I think it's the left side that actually has 3 sections, and the right side of the lung has 2. Hello, Beverly. Good to see you. And just pay attention to that. I mean, you might not feel it. That would take a lot of just really getting into it, but and let your eyes, like what I'm doing, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm just kind of looking and softening that gaze and really paying attention to the breath going in. How far down can you follow that breath? Yeah, Catherine, I see that, and we'll get to that in a minute. You're really coming up as not being grounded, so good place to be. But it's not showing up in the usual way, so you might not be figuring it out that you're not grounded. Okay. So how far down can you follow that breath? And if you think about it, air is drying. So you might feel a dryness or a coolness, especially when the air comes into the body. There's a difference in temperature. So you can notice that as cool. And how far down can you follow that cool with the breath? And then notice the expansion of the chest. So the breathing, there's that, I forget what it's called, but below there's kind of the separation between the lungs and the upper part and the bottom part. And so what happens when we breathe is that there's a downward movement so that it makes room for the lungs. And on the exhale, it comes up to push the air out. So see if you can notice that. So expansion this way, and in breath, out breath, but in the upper chest. So it's almost like on the exhale, it collapses, and there's that section, I forget what it's called, that pushes up against the lungs. So see if you can have a sense of that. Really tune into your body. Really let yourself connect with your body. And a little trick to see if you're really breathing in deeply, because sometimes that can be hard. I'm going to stand up a little bit so you won't see my face, but to see if you're breathing well enough is to put your hands with your thumbs in the back above waist. So my waist is here, but it's a little bit higher up, just above. And as you breathe, you want to be pushing against your thumbs so that you're putting your awareness on your thumbs and focusing on pushing the thumbs out with the breath. So that can help you get into a deeper breath. So the breath really starts from the bottom of the lungs and moves up, because otherwise we have a tendency to breathe really shallowly and just up in this upper part. So give that a try for a few. If you want, you can put your hands there and focusing on pushing against those thumbs in the back. It's really good to get more oxygen into the system. Breathe deeper. And if we don't do it all the time, especially more. Hi, Glenna. Good to see you. Glenna coming all the way from way up north. So wondering if it's getting cold up there yet or if it's not. But we're talking about autumn is just around the corner here. And let yourself drop down to what you're sitting on. Or standing if you're standing. And let's just sit with that one for a minute. You know, let's just take some time to really notice. So notice your body against whatever you're sitting on. Put your awareness there. Is it a hard surface? Is it a soft surface? How soft of a surface is it? And even if it's hard, Yukon territory, Yukon, Canada, very warm today. Well, there you go. We're all upside down. So even when a surface is hard, when you really put your awareness on that, feel into that. Wood feels different than steel, than cement, than stone, than the ground. So pay attention to that. Just kind of feel into that and get a sense of that. And even the softness will feel different depending on the cushion that you're sitting on, the padding that's there. And as you're feeling that, become aware of your body. So some of us will feel our bones more against what we're sitting on, especially if it's hard surface, and some of us a little bit less, depending on how much body padding there is there against the sit bones and whatever else. If you're sitting cross-legged, then you're going to have different bones. But coming into the Marlou, hi guys, hey Marlou, good to see you. And letting your awareness drop down. So let's see. Let me just kind of run through the group there. Yeah, so all of you are doing pretty well. And I want to emphasize again, coming from the center of the head and dropping down instead of going forward out the forehead, because that's not very centered. And sometimes what happens is that we get so used to being in this part of our head that we think we're looking at within ourselves, and we're actually like grounding it. We're actually dropping down from here, but that's not very grounded. That's just through your head. So let's everybody take a nice deep breath in, pulling it all the way up to the top of your head, holding it, and then releasing it when you're ready. And coming into the middle of your head. Just allow yourself, your awareness, to kind of just relax back. Sort of like you're just dropping your head back on a pillow a little bit. But then it's just your awareness till you're about center. And now dropping down from that center of your head, moving down the head through the neck, the upper torso, middle, lower torso, to what you're sitting on. And pay attention to how that feels. Kayla's here too. Here with 3 kids. All right. Good kids. So notice how that feels. The drop down from the center of your head, like float down. And really come into those sit bones. Those legs crossed over, if that's how you're sitting. Clearing out. And breathe into that. I'll do a little bit of clearing here for the group generally. As we come into our beings, whenever we do this, this just helps us to clear the dust off from the day, so to speak. It's inevitable that we're going to be picking up frequencies as we go throughout the day, unless we are at such a level of self-mastery, vibrational level, that doesn't happen. And allow your breath to just deepen. And with every exhale, just kind of letting yourself drop down a little bit more. And on the inhale, expanding out, not up, but out. And even though there's a bunch of dogs barking down below me, or a couple dogs, I can feel there's the stillness in the group. So the whole group has just kind of dropped into a deeper state of being, which is nice. This is why we come here, take that break from the mayhem out there. That's out there with most people. Very quiet. Some of you even feel like you're kind of getting to that place where you're so nice and relaxed, and probably also because of the time of day that you're drifting off. Kind of feels like people in your, for example, Harold, you kind of feel like you're getting into nice, relaxed state. So that's really nice, and that's okay. It's very different to fall asleep in one of these group things or any kind of meditation, because you're actually surrounded in a different environment. So that has a very different impact on you when you go into more of a sleep state or zoning out state, which is, when you think you're falling asleep, but you're just in a kind of more unconscious state, even though you're not technically asleep. Right. And everybody's kind of there, doing really well, yeah. And it's really nice to come into a group level like this and just take the time to connect with other people who can go more deeply with us. And there might be some people who don't go as deeply in, or who are not as well versed, and maybe more newbies to really coming into that deep place within themselves. But the intent is there, and we're all kind of focused on that same space. And this is a really nice space. It feels very deep to me today. And yeah, for now, I just want to let everybody just kind of sit there, because this is really our time to really take advantage of this in this little being spa. And it's kind of shifting into just raising it up a little bit. Sometimes we think it's like, well, I really want to jump really high and all that, but just a little bit of a raise is good. Just to kind of coast, get into that place of coasting. So we can really just be with ourselves, connect in more deeply, connect more concretely with our spirits. So everybody, yeah, let's do that. Everybody come in. I tend to come here somewhere between the heart and the solar plexus. You might, wherever you're drawn, it might be more in one direction or the other. That's fine with that general area. Just come into that area for yourself. Yeah. And come into the body, so as if you're looking at the sternum from the inside. sternum bone, or if you're a little lower, just this from the inside looking out. Yep. Almost like you're pulled back, as if your head was in there, the back of your head would be against your spine. And just breathe into that, connecting with yourself. Everyone in their own little bubble. So you can also imagine yourself keeping your awareness centered there, being in like a soap bubble, but nicely shaped soap bubble that surrounds you. It's your space. Bhavna, if I look into you with your question earlier, I'm drawn to the lower abdomen area. Bhavna, let's get you even more anchored into your body. It doesn't feel like your energy is flowing down your legs very well. It feels like it just gets kind of stopped there. Let me know if that makes sense to you. And really come into that center, that core channel for yourself. And Marlou, I see you very excited about where you are now. I know you're starting a new, stepping into something very new for yourself right now. Stay grounded. Come back and be a little bit more grounded with that. It's like with the excitement, sometimes we have a tendency to like pull up. It's like, whoa, and that's good and that's fine. And using, there's also all this energy and like bringing it down to filling up your body and bringing it down and expanding out. So, okay, so Bob, now I'll get to you in a minute. Thanks for that. Said, yes, that makes sense. So good. We're on the same page. Good. Yeah, there's a lot. Let's see, what can I do with that? It's like I'm seeing this layer, like as you're the pelvic floor. So if you're sitting, it's like it's like there's a lot. There's a layer. Let's just say there's a layer of distortions. It's almost like you're sitting on a cushion of distortions. So noticing that and putting your awareness down to the core of the earth, like dropping your awareness there. At the energetic level, so even starting at the energetic level, and as we move up, from out of the physical, where you put your awareness, the energy flows. So if we're always pulled up, and I'm not saying you are, but as just to emphasize that, when we're in our heads and whenever you do anything on the computer, for example, you're going to be up in your head for the most part, or there's going to be this upward pull. So bring your energy to what you're sitting on, so good, and then dropping it all the way down, reaching for the core of the earth. Yeah, hip and sacral issues. Yeah, that whole pelvic floor. And holding your awareness down at the core. You know, you might notice your awareness coming back up. That's fine. Take a deep breath and bring it back down to the core. You know, just to help. So what that does is that creates that pull of movement down. Yeah, let's see. There's also a couple of points. This is from something I've used for a long time called Jinshin Jutsu, which helps with that flow. By the ankles, on the inside of the ankles, there's a point, and on the outside, right next to and a little bit below the ankle bone. So even just lightly touching those points and holding that will help to clear that out. So Catherine, yeah. So as I was saying, it's what's happening is it's almost like there's internal. Really see it, especially in this area, lower chest, I guess you could say, at the core. It's like there's this kernel of, I'm going to call it the pain body, but it's this kernel, this old thing of you. So it's like you're more in there than you are in the rest of your body. So you can't really be grounded. Grounded is about coming fully into your body. You're spot on. Okay, great. Thank you. Good. So it's sort of like, instead of coming into your whole body, and so this is kind of work in progress for you, of really coming into your body. And so she says, yes, I'm reliving an old me. It seems so weird. So part of what happened with you is that you completely pulled in yourself. That was, you know, it's like you've compacted yourself completely internally here. That's not being in your body. that's being like in a little box, you know, this little tiny thing, space, you know, this little cavern inside of you, and all compacted up. So breathe into that spot. Okay. Reliving an old me. Yeah, because it's coming up to release. You know, you're finally at a place where you have enough strength within yourself to have that stability to let go of that piece, because letting go of that piece has to do with letting go of everything that's associated to why you did that in the first place. A lot of patterns, you know, and a lot of associations with that in life. So now you have the strength to have that come through and release it. So that's why. So yeah, it can feel a little weird there. Glenna, I'm going to have you kind of, let's do the head thing again for you. I think you've got a lot of stuff on your mind right now, coming into fall here. I don't know if you've started school yet or not, but and everything that's going on in Canada, I've heard a few things. But let's take this time now to step out of that. So take a deep breath in, and everybody can do this too. Just take a deep breath in, hold it, and as you release it, just release it out in all directions. And you can do that again with this next breath. Breathing in all the way into the upper body or your head specifically, and then exhale and just see it going out in all directions. And come into the center of your head. Yeah, so that's okay. Relax into that. I'm noticing a little bit of difficulty relaxing back. It just from the stuff that's on your mind. Yeah, there's your community stuff. We've talked about that. Also, we won't get into that here, but and just for this moment, let's just kind of let go of that and take this moment to just step into yourself. Separate out from that. Oh, there you go. Wow. Okay, so that's bringing up there's a lot of sadness that's coming through. So it's sort of like you had this mesh that was all around you, pulling in tight, kind of trying to hold it together. Is the sense. So opening that up, because this is a good space to be in for just opening up and just allowing yourself that breathing room, even if it's just with the acknowledgement of what's in deeper. And let's everybody come into that space in the upper torso. And let's all come into, yeah, nicely. Really breathe into that. So part of what we do here is group. We also work with each other and support each other. So, and we support each other by really coming into owning ourselves, coming into that space for ourselves. And so having everybody come into that, in that upper chest, really breathe in deep, really connecting to yourself there. That creates that resonance. And then that whoever's having a hard time can okay, all right, thanks guys, got me spotted. I can do this. And then the person comes into themselves also. Very good. Yeah, Glenna, just grief coming up, sadness and grief. So just allowing that to come through and release, because we can't. It's not going to make you stronger to hold it in. And right here, right now, we can all do this. You can do this with us. You can be in that space. Got a lot of support here. So. Okay, spot on, Catherine. Good. Thank you for that. Beverly, I'm going to check in on Beverly here. I haven't seen you in a long time, so let's see how you're doing. Who's back there? Who's somebody said it's either your daughter, maybe. Kind of like standing behind you is what I'm seeing. So maybe not. Maybe it just at that deeper spirit level. So I want to just create a little bit more space with you, for you, and a little bit more separation, so that you're a little bit more, each of you, in your own space. So a little detachment there. So everybody, let's take a nice deep breath in and just slowly release it out. And let's really focus in on that the periphery of our body, so which is our skin. So Beverly, really come into that for yourself. There we go. Oh, that's helping to push away a layer there, a layer of, we'll just kind of call it dust. It feels a little bit more like mud, but that's okay. We have different levels of layers, don't we? Depending on, for whatever reason, if they've gotten more caked on. And this is a little bit of a tough one for you, Beverly, but you're trying hard, and I know this is a little bit more of a tough one for you, and part of that is because you didn't learn to do it correctly. You know, you didn't grow up in an environment that showed you it's like separation, within family members. So it's challenging for you at different levels. It's challenging for you at that deeper level because the habit's not there. It's challenging for you at the emotional, mental level as well because there's a lot of judgment around that. I think I have boundary issues too. Yes. I think, aren't you guys sisters? I think you're sisters, but, or maybe not. We basically, most of us have come in with some boundary issues, so that's okay. So let's all come into that sense of that boundary. Let's focus in on the skin. And actually, Michelle, you're doing pretty well. Yeah. So there we go. So good. You guys are together. That's pretty cool too. That you're in the session together too, because that will create that resonance and that a deeper breaking from the family pattern for the two of you to be in here. So I see Michelle's having a little bit more strength than you, Beverly, with being able to just say no, especially to the emotional piece. So kind of, things like guilt or shame or, because many of us learn in families that, okay, this is family, this is what we do. We kind of come in together and this is what we're like, instead of like being, oh, we're like a separate individual. It's like, no, let's just really get enmeshed, and if our mothers are doing that for whatever reason in utero, that happened to me. Wow, that's your only sense of life as in human form, at least in this lifetime, to be enmeshed like that, or to be engulfed. That was a little bit more engulfed, but the enmeshing also took place. So deep breath in, feeling your body, feeling the edge of your body. And with every breath, just feeling that edge. I'm imagining the mold. There's this mold that the skin takes, that forms, that has the shape of your body. And Beverly, that will help your daughter also, as you show this to her. Hold yourself that way, and it's work in progress, to really come into that. But as you develop that strength, you'll see that it's like, okay, this makes sense to me. This feels better. This will feel better to her. And give her that direction of like, okay, this is how we do it. We hold ourselves and we become our own entity. And growing up is about developing that own entity for ourselves. Harold, that would be good also just for you to really work a little bit more on those boundaries. You feel like you're in a pretty good place, and it's more up here, but the boundaries are fuzzy. Um, so let's bring in more distinction to the boundaries. Beverly says yes. Yes to holding, I'm going to just say yes to holding that boundary strong for yourself. So real good. Yes. Work in progress, you know. It's developing a new skill. You don't get on a bicycle for the first time and ride it automatically, perfectly up and down the hills. And, it takes a little bit of time. It takes the practice. And this is what we are here for that practice. And let's focus in on that mold, that outline, all the way down. So let's start with the top of the head. Be aware of that with the breath. As you breathe, front, back, sides, top of the head. And with the neck, moving down, adding the neck. So as we move down to the next part, let's keep the part we just did in. So neck all around. So the neck is like a little tube sitting on this, or sitting below this ball. And then the shoulders. So I can just do the top of the shoulders, but then there's a little bit the front and the back. There's that curve. And coming down into our arms, adding the arms. It's like these big long tubes that have their own shapes all the way down to the fingers that are also like little tubes, capped tubes. Becoming aware of that. Into the back up, into noticing the armpits. A place we usually don't put our attention there too often unless it's putting on deodorant or when we're sweating, feeling stinky there or whatever. Coming into the upper torso, front and back. And for women who have maybe overrun by masculine frequencies, like if your mother wanted a boy or something, you might not have a sense of your breasts as much. So take the time to really pay attention to the breasts, as well as the shoulder blades, the ribs. So another tube of the chest and kind of a barrel. Moving down to the waist. And lower abdomen. Getting a sense of that three-dimensionality, 3D all the way around. Whatever you're sitting on, especially if you're sitting. And then the legs. There's the whole pelvic floor and the legs. The butt, the groin, the thighs. And the thighs, that's a pretty sturdy muscle there, pretty. And down to the knees. Lower legs. Ankles. And then feet. Top sides are pretty thin, bottoms, toes, in between those toes. Got a lot of tube shapes in the body there, don't we? And then breathe into that, feel that whole outline. And just releasing more as we shift up a little bit. Very good. And let's just kind of really be here for a moment. Really breathe into that space. Feel that calmness, that centeredness, that clarity. That quietness and that relaxation that in that quietness. How relaxing it is to come into that quiet, and not necessarily quiet in terms of sounds, but quiet in terms of being. Yeah. So until further notice, I'm going to be doing these weekly, just to have that space where we can all come together, to take a break from and from the mayhem, as I call it, the craziness out there. Some of you have to face it more, deal with it more than others. If you're working, if you're whatever. And just to give ourselves that support and being and moving through this wave. I've made a recording. I've got to get it up on the website, so there will be a recording for sale on the website. This coming into being, and just kind of taking the slow process. Bhavna says, "Thank you so much. This was my the most peaceful time of my day." Yes, so that's why, that's the reason for doing this, so we can have that time to really come into ourselves and have that extra support, extra guidance. Sometimes it's helpful to have a little bit of extra guidance. Look this way, look that way, step over this rock, whatever. And of course, if you want to have more personal work, there's always sessions too. So yeah, and the recording is just kind of the basics, but that son just did one so that people can have something. It's nice to have something that's not on a video, where you can just listen and play it in the background too. And Marlu, thank you, Marianne. Feeling much calmer and connected to my body and spirit. Yay! The session I did with you a couple weeks ago was amazing. Oh yeah, that was a great session too. So sessions are fun. They're always fun. Thank you, Marianne. You're spot on. Lots of losses for sure. Yeah. The more reasons to have strong boundaries and stay centered. Absolutely. Feeling peaceful and grounded. Thank you. And thank you, all of you, for showing up, because I could do this by myself, but it's a lot more fun and a lot more. It's just it's great for me to do this with you guys too. So thank you all for showing up. And yeah, let's just take one nice deep breath in here. Nice group coherence, individual coherence, and that brings a deeper group coherence. It's fun to connect with the space. Yeah, it's fun to come into the space together. Absolutely. Thank you, Marianne. It was so It was so peaceful. Good. Yeah. As always, thank you so much. Yeah, feeling calm. Yay, we're all feeling calm. Yes, it feels great, doesn't it? So thank you all for showing up. And whenever we see you again next time in here or somewhere else. So take care, everybody. And I'm going to end in a second, but I want to say I'm going to end and just take that time, even if it's just a couple minutes, to stay in that space for yourself, to really feel that and anchor it. Feeling so calm and peaceful. Thank you. Yeah, great. So glad to hear that. Really, thank you. Yeah, Beverly, it was nice to see you again. Glad you showed up. And Harold, yes, Harold too. So let's just take a deep breath in. I will end, and then just give yourselves 2, 3, 4, or 5 more breaths at least, or a few more minutes to just kind of stay in that space for yourself and carry that forward. All right, until next time.